Hi, my name is William Spear, and I'm an MEP Technical Specialist with Autodesk. And I'm also the person behind the Ask William forums on the MEP Resource Centers. And the other day I received an email from a gentleman asking, how do I do the basics of pipe routing in AutoCAD MEP? And I thought, that's a really good question, so I decided to put together a couple of videos. Video 102 will be the basics of pipe routing and the basic setup. And video 202 will be the fittings and how to connect to fittings and change them out. And hopefully between the two, we'll have you on your way to routing pipe in AutoCAD MEP 2010. Okay, so here we are in AutoCAD MEP 2010, and we're looking at some piping. And before I actually do any pipe routing, let's first discuss the best way to set up the user interface for the task at hand. The most important thing you want to check is your workspace setting. And down here is the workspace settings. And you can see that out of the box we have HVAC, piping, electrical, plumbing, and schematic. And what these are for basically is whatever discipline you select, AutoCAD MEP will cull the herd of tools at hand for just the discipline at hand. So in this case we want to do just piping, and with piping workspace setting set, I have only those tools that apply to piping. The tools for all the other disciplines are hidden or they're turned off, so that I don't have to go hunting and seeking through all sorts of different tools just to do piping. So setting your workspace is of utmost importance. A good rule of thumb too, whenever you're doing anything three-dimensional, is to have at least a couple of viewports open. So in this case I have a plan view viewport open, isometric view viewport open. You need at least those two, and today we're going to have an elevation view open as well. And the reason you want these open is so that you can make sure you're connecting into what you expect to connect into. You can double check to see if a pipe is actually pitched or not. There's a number of benefits that come from doing that. So have several viewports open. And for instance, if I was going to connect to one of these roof drains here, how would I know which roof drain I'm connecting into if I'm looking at it only in elevation? So there's the virtue of having a plan view open. I can see that where it looks like I have just one and one, I've actually got 2 and 3 open, or 2 and 3 roof drains. And where you're going to set those is under the View tab. You're going to go to Viewport Configuration List, and here's where you're going to find all the different viewport configurations to choose from. So you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them right out of the box open as well. So find the one that works best for you and use that. Down here are snap settings. And let's talk about snap settings for a minute. What I want to do is make sure that all the general snaps we're used to seeing in AutoCAD are turned off. I don't want those on. And there's a good reason for that, because I don't want any of these interfering with any of the AutoCAD MEP snaps. So welcome to AutoCAD MEP snaps. Notice all the snaps on the left are curve snaps. All the snaps on the right are connector snaps. Curve means basically connecting into any existing run. So in this case, a pipe curve snap would be connecting in 2 pipes in as a T or as a Y lateral, that kind of connection. And pipe connector snap is any snap that connects to the end of a pipe or the terminal connection. So starting at a roof drain or ending at a piece of equipment, this is pipe connector and this is pipe curve. There's the symbols for them. Remember these symbols, and if you need to type them in on the fly, it's PCUR for pipe curve and PCON for pipe connector. A couple other commands I want to introduce you to are UCS ortho, which is simply on off, and UCS follow, which is also on off. Now I'm going to leave both those off because I don't need them. I typically don't use them. If you want to use them, that's fine. I'm encouraging you to look them up in the helps, read up on them and find out what they do. UCS follow in a nutshell basically changes whatever viewport you're in to a plan view. So in this case, in an actual plan view, I'd expect to see X and Y for UCS icon. And if I switch to this viewport down here, notice it's XZ. As soon as I switch to it, if I had UCS follow on, that also would change to XY. And then when I get back out of it, it would go back to XZ. And there's benefit in doing that if you want to do that, so that your UCS rotates plan to whatever activity you happen to be doing at the time. Last, I'll show you up under the Manage tab where you can find pipe preferences and, for instance, slope format. You can change slope format from rise run fractional to rise run 1/48 or 1/96 for 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch and so forth. And for today, we'll just leave it at 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. All right, so that's some of the basics about setting up the user interface. Make sure you have those settings checked and become familiar with those snap settings. What I want to do now is just lay in a basic piece of pipe, or just lay in a basic pipe run, and I'm going to pick up these roof drains. The way I'm going to do that, the easiest way to do that, is to just pick on the last connection fitting And notice when I select on this, I get this plus grip here, and that plus grip means add a pipe. So if I select that, right away you can see that I've got a pipe coming out of that 45 now, and it's actually got a connector engagement length, which you can also set. You can also set angle of deflection, so how much bend can you get at an actual connection point, like in real life, 3 degrees, 13 degrees, whether it's PVC or hub piping. And then what I want to do next, what you would expect to do next, is to come out here and actually pick my terminal connection point. Where am I going to end this pipe? But in AutoCAD MEP, that's not the best practice. The best practice here is to select the tool or select the action and then go to Properties to fine tune. What does that mean? That means to come in here and make sure you're getting what you expect. The right system, the right routing preference, the size is correct. And in this case, in AutoCAD MEP, because I selected that fitting, it was a 4-inch fitting, it automatically starts at 4 inches. I can come in, however, and change that to 6 inches if I wanted to, or 2 inches, whatever. And if I did, it would automatically add the reducer for me. So that's nice. Specify cut length 60 inches if you want to, so your bill of materials works out right. But what's most important is down here, I want to make sure that the slope is correct. Now here I have an 1/8 inch plus a little bit, and the reason I got that little bit on there is because it's actually picking up the exact slope from the fitting I selected. And now I want to change that back to an 1/8 inch again. I want that run to be exactly an 1/8 inch positive, not negative. And the reason for that is I'm going to route this pipe uphill and pick my terminal connection point there. And notice that when I do, as soon as I select that, I get the pipe to appear in all the views, an isometric and an elevation. And in elevation I can check right away that indeed it's pitched, so I got what I was expecting. And I can finish the command and my stick lengths come in and I'm getting exactly the kind of behavior I was expecting. So what have we covered real quick? We've covered the basics of setting up the user interface, making sure the right settings are on, a little introduction to P-con and P-curve snap settings, and how to set up the viewports to make sure you got the right viewports. So this concludes video 1 of 2, and in the next video we're going to look at actually how we're going to connect these roof drains here to the main run, and how we're going to connect this horizontal run of pitched pipe over here to a riser, and how we select those fittings.